Sales-based pro forma model. A sales-based pro forma model starts with forecasting a company's sales, and sales is on the income statement. Once we are done forecasting sales or revenue, then we can go ahead to forecast cost of sales. Some other items on the income statement can also be forecasted. Once we are done forecasting the income statement, the balance sheet items can also be forecasted. It is worth noting that there are some items on the income statement that are linked to that of the balance sheet. Once we are done forecasting the income statement items and the balance sheet items, then a cash flow statement can then be constructed. The revenue forecast can be built using top-down approach, bottom-up approach, or the hybrid approach. For now, we would get started with forecasting revenue. Let us get started with top-down approach of forecasting revenue. The top-down approach begins with broad economic indicators such as GDP or market size, and then narrows down to the company level. There are two main top-down methods to forecast revenue. We have growth relative to GDP approach, and we have market share and market growth. Let us get started with growth relative to GDP growth approach. In this method, the analyst estimates the company's revenue growth in relation to GDP growth. This method is useful when a company's performance is strongly linked to the overall economic growth. Let us look at an example relating to this approach. Assume that a company's current revenue is $120 million. If nominal GDP grows at 4%, but a firm is expected to grow at 80 basis points slower than the nominal GDP. Before moving on, it is worth noting that 100 basis points is the same as 1%. That implies that 80 basis points will be 0.8%. We expect revenue to grow by 4% minus 80 basis points, which is 0.8%, and that is 3.2%. Since we were told here that the current revenue is $120 million, that implies that the forecasted revenue would be $120 million times 1 plus 0.032, and that should be equal to $123.84 million. Before moving on, it is worth noting that if this had been faster as against slower, then the revenue will be expected to change by 4% plus 0.8%, which is 4.8%. So I believe we are fine with this, but it is worth noting that the examiner might not give you nominal GDP. You might be giving real GDP. If you are giving real GDP, you can compute nominal by just adding the real GDP to the inflation. Moving on to market growth and market share approach. This approach estimates the company's expected market share and multiplies it by the forecasted market size. This approach is useful when data on the total addressable market is available. Let us look at an example. Assume that a firm is expected to maintain 6% market share. However, the industry's market size is projected to grow from 1.5 billion to 2 billion US dollars. That implies that out of these 2 billion US dollars, the firm owns 6% of this market size. So 6% of 2 billion would be 120 million US dollars. Thus, the expected revenue will be equal to 120 million US dollars.